Hi everyone, welcome back to GameMaker Cast. It's Mickey, and in this video we're going to be looking at audio effects that are built into GameMaker. I don't see this topic talked about a lot, but in GameMaker we have some audio effects that we're able to use and add to our game. One of these effects we'll look at today is called a reverb effect. This allows us to make our player go into, say, a cave and have the sound echo while we're still inside. To get started, download the starting project found in the description below. Let's close the project and have a quick look at the objects. The first object is the object zone music. This will allow us to trigger an effect on the player on and off. We're also going to store all of our sounds and music inside the player object, but really you can store them anywhere that you want. Also inside the player object, I have the function that we're going to be using to trigger on and off all of the effects here. Now the effect that we're going to be using is a reverb effect. And to get things started, we first need to create a variable to hold on to our reference for this effect. We'll name it EF reverb. We're going to be using the function audio effect create. We need to pass in the audio effect type, and for this type we want to make sure that we pass in reverb 1. We can pass in some optional parameters such as the mix. We'll set this to 0.8, which means 80% of the sound that we're going to be mixing with. Now, when we want to toggle our sound on, we're going to be calling the toggle effect here. We're going to be using the main audio bus to use this effect. And before we actually go into this further, let's take a quick second and talk about the audio buses. In GameMaker, all sounds will be compiled and run down through what's called the main audio bus. This is what everything basically is mixed down to, so any effects that are applied to this bus will be applied to every single sound in our game. Each audio can actually have its own bus and can have up to 8 different effects applied to it. So we have the ability to add new buses and add effects to only those buttons that will affect certain sounds. But for now, we're going to skip that and just get it working with the main audio bus. So back in GameMaker, when we toggle our effect on, we simply just need to access one of the audio bus's effect slots. In this case, we're going to be accessing the first one. We're going to be applying the EF reverb variable, which will apply the effect for us. The reverse, when we need to remove it, we can set it to undefined. Now, if we run our game, we walk into the cave, you should hear the music changing. I can also jump and you can hear that sound is changing as well. One thing to note, going in and out of the cave, the sound change is very abrupt. We can smooth this out by using a variable to lerp between the mix amount. Let's close the game, and back in the create event, let's create a new variable called reverb mix, and we'll set it to 0. We also need to change the mix value within our create, and then in the toggle, what we're going to do is we'll set the reverb mix to 0.8 like we originally had, and when we turn it off, we'll set it to 0. Now we can clean up these two function calls, and we're going to place the main function call at the very start, and we're going to tell it to always use the reverb effect. Remember, by default this is going to be 0%, so what we need to do is we need to lerp between the two values. In this step event, we'll add a reverb mix equals error lerp function, and we're going to lerp between the current mix value and then the reverb mix, which will change. Now when we run our game and we go into the cave, we should have a smooth transition going in and out. Now technically, everything we have is already set up for single sounds. But remember, we talked about using multiple audio buses. We can create our own audio bus that plays different sound effects, and on these buses, we can apply certain effects to them. So let's pretend that we wanted to apply an effect only to the music. Let's close our game, and back in the object player, let's create 2 new audio buses. We're going to separate the audio bus out using the FX emitter, and we also need a sound effects bus. And then we need to match up the emitter with the bus just to link the two. We'll copy and paste this below and do the same for the music. So remember, we have 3 different audio buses. We have the audio bus for sound effects and the audio bus for music, and then we have the main audio bus. The sound effects and the music bus are going to be compiled down to use the main one. But what we can do now is we can tell it which sound emitter to actually play it on. For instance, let's play the music on the music emitter. Instead of using audio play sound, let's use the audio play sound on. We'll pass in the music emitter. We'll pass in the sound. Let's also make the music loop, and that's just a priority of 10. Over in the step event, let's change our jumping sound to use the audio play sound on as well. This time, let's make sure that we use the sound effects emitter, and then we'll just pass in the regular information. Now, if we were to run our game right now, you should notice that absolutely nothing has changed. This is because in the end, like I said, everything's mixed down to the main audio bus, and our effect is sitting on the main audio bus, thus it's affecting every single sound in our game. This is a quick and easy fix. Let's close our game, and inside the create event, instead of saying the main audio bus effect, let's switch it to use the music audio bus. Now when we run our game, we can hear when we go into the cave, we get that little echo. However, if we jump, it will stay the same. We can easily change this to use the sound effects by just closing the game and changing the bus effect that we want the effect to actually happen on. So now if we run our game again, you can hear that the music isn't changing, but when we're jumping up and down, the reverb is happening on that. And that's actually it. Now you can go through and you create a whole bunch of different audio buses and apply different effects to them to bring even more life into your game. Thanks for watching. Once again, thank you for watching the video. A shout out to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. A special thanks to the following Patreon members in no particular order: Helena, 39 Digits, GameMaker Community, Victor, Midnight, Matthew, Jujube84, Sean, Patrick, Mika, Sudu, Aldo, Emerald. Once again, thank you all for watching.